Hey, everybody. Uh, Mr. Bassett here, your school counselor at Mills River Elementary School, with a new series I call Short Conversations. These are short videos I make, hopefully, to help somebody out there, one of our families or caregivers that needs this information. So check it out, see if it's useful. Our first one is maximizing scheduled learning breaks. Sorry, it's about breaks. All right. So, as you've noticed, our students have breaks throughout the day where their Google Meet is suspended for a certain amount of time so that they can go and take care of things that need to happen. Just like we take breaks during the school day here at school to do things like go to the bathroom, get a snack, get a little bit of movement, get away from our seats, get a stretch, and sometimes prepare materials and get ready for the next part of our day. So I think most everybody understands that these breaks are happening and our kids are utilizing them for these things right here. Okay. But let's go a little bit deeper. So I've noticed that my son likes to slide right from his Google Classroom into some other thing online, whether that's a learning game, which is great, or even sometimes more of a video game type thing that he's found on the computer. However, even if it's a learning game, that is not the purpose of this break. A break is, of course, to do all these things we talked about, but it's also a break from the screen. And we know our kids are getting a lot of screen time, and that's okay. They will be okay, but we do want to give them some breaks and limit that time and use our breaks smartly. So I've been working with my son that he has to get up out of his seat, away from his computer, during his scheduled breaks. Now, if there's an option to talk to someone and be social, absolutely. You can do a phone call if you're not home with your child. That is fine as well. And of course, just getting a break, if you're moving from your screen, some type of stretching, you can be intentional about it, or just getting away from the screen is going to get a little bit of moving, a little bit of blood flow, a little bit of turning on that brain if you're standing up. In fact, our brains are wired to learn while we're standing and moving. It's just how we're made. Think for thousands of years, people have learned by doing, by working alongside other people. So that's how our brains are wired. So our teachers know that, and you may have noticed that they do brain breaks in the classroom. They have kids up and moving. We do it while they're here in our building, and lots of teachers even have alternative seating arrangements for kids because of this, where certain kids can stand at their desk, or they can sit on a movement ball, like a exercise ball. So those are all ideas that you can think about it at home as well. All right. So focusing a little bit more on movement. I have been pretty intentional with my two boys, whether that's taking a walk around our house, um, outside if that's possible, if the weather's nice, if we have time to do that. Walk and talk. It's like I already said, it's a natural time to be social. So at the end of the day, when you ask them, would you learn today? What'd you do? Well, maybe you'll get a little bit more out of them if you're talking to them about what they just did 1 minute ago. Uh, Jump, bounce, and roll. So not always is it a good time for me to take my boys out of my room or out of the house. Some breaks are shorter than others, so there's also just some movement and bouncing and rolling that happens right here in the room. I do have an exercise ball. We play catch. We just do things to get a little bit of movement, have a little bit of fun, and get ready for our next Google Meet. And something that I always use here at school is called wall pushes. All right. It's where you take both hands, you push them against the wall, and you push from your legs all the way through your fingertips. And you can count to 10, take a break, do it again. This is one of those little secrets that helps ground the body, helps focus the body, helps wake the body up, and the brain. And that may help you help a student or your child at home. Now, not every single kid needs movement, and for different reasons, movement is not always possible. So here are some other ideas. All right, I say that, hey, we need a movement. You need to move around. You need to talk to people. Well, some kids they just beat a little bit differently, and that is fine. Um, you be the judge. You see what works, what's distracting, what's helpful, and help your child find the best way to use their breaks at home. So things like Legos, Play-Doh, drawing, coloring, and yes, even older students can and should be coloring. Adult coloring pages, being as like a lot of detail. Colored pencils are a really good option for that. You should try it out yourself if you haven't. It's very calming, very relaxing, very focusing. Research even says that drawing and coloring can be um, help you learn even while you're sitting at your desk and listening to the teacher. That's not for everybody. Some kids would get too distracted by that, but others, it may be helpful. So, reading, yes. Is that movement? Is that taking a break from the screen? Hopefully, let's read a book since we have so much screen time. But for some kids, that's kind of their thing. That's the break they need, and they need to disengage rather to engage. So if that's your kid's thing, then make that an option for them. Writing, crossword puzzles, things of that nature. Other kids, they just need to organize. They need to move their stuff around. They need to put away their materials and get out their new materials. That in itself can be helpful for getting kids ready to relax and focus for the next learning section. And for some kids and parents, you'll know this if your kid has one, just a preferred activity, something that they really, really want to do and they need to do. And after they do it, they just feel a little bit more grounded and more like themselves and ready to go. So it's a double-edged sword. If they're doing something they really like, they may have trouble disengaging. So using things like timers and have an agreed upon plan that if you're going to do this activity and you want to keep it in your list of things that you can do during a brain break, um, that you have to use it responsibly. You have to give it up when it's time to go back to class. And if you set those expectations and you're consistent with it, just about any activity could be plugged into our learning breaks that our teachers are giving you. If you want to dig even deeper or you're having some issues that you want me to troubleshoot with, just send me an email. I'll be happy to do that with you. I hope this video was helpful. Thank you. Maybe I can turn it off.